I will record. So now it's recording.
Yes, thank you.
And
Yes, thank you so much.
so and we have maximum 2 hours, and I think we'll need to take a short break in the middle. 2 hours online, it's a bit long. So is there anything else before we start? You sent me 4 questions, and I don't know if we will have time to do all 4 today, but we will have more time later. Everyone okay?
Yes.
So so shall we then start a little bit with the first question? You sent, it's about reinforcers, interesting and motivating activities.
Yes, and we've tried to describe some tips that we are already using, some strategies that we are already using, just for you to know some things that we already do and we already try, but sometimes it just doesn't work that good that we'd expected to do. So we thought about the problems of motivation with little children, because we mostly work with children under 4 years old. So for them, but maybe for all of the children and even for the adults, the motivating of the learning process is an important thing. And sometimes with little children, they just seem to have not much skills in playing or in manipulating objects. And this is why we sometimes can't find the motivation, and the child doesn't seem to be interested, even if we have a lot of different types of toys and different activities that we are trying to play with him.
So are you thinking about like children in general, or these children with autism, or others as well?
We talk about children with autism.
Yeah, mostly children with autism.
So how do you usually do when you want to find out what is motivating for a child? What is your approach generally?
We're testing a lot of motivation games. A lot of games, different. For example, sensory materials and very simple games, for example. And sometimes it's only 2 or 3 motivating games for child.
We ask parents what like children.
Yeah.
We also.
When you ask the parents, do you follow any special protocol, or do you just ask them? How do you?
We have yes, we have sort of a protocol, but it's not very direct. I don't know. So we ask parents to observe what the child does during some time of the day and just write it down, the things that he uses or the games that he plays, what exactly he does in these games, and is it possible to communicate with him during these games, to join them, or is he doing it on his own? So this sort of half strict. I don't know how it's called.
We have a kind of a list where they're describing activities, and we can use it during our session. And it's in each activity we can describe what kind of activity was it and what can we do better.
Some connectivity
these
issue
games
here.
and toys, and it's a kind of list of analysis which we can use afterwards during our program sessions.
Yeah.
So we can see all these activities, we can count them, which kind of activities it were, was it a kind of interaction place, or maybe only some material like sand, like water, so we can measure it and think about what could be our next step for making this motivation better during each activity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a list.
Yeah, yeah. So that sounds good. I mean, it's important to have some kind of structure. So you, so there are different ways of making these lists. I don't know if sometimes it's categorized different types of reinforcers, things that you can watch or listen to or smell or touch. So I mean, one way of trying to increase the number of activities is to be sure that you have, I mean, different types of reinforcers, so that you don't forget anything. So you can try to find what is. I mean, for some children, they prefer certain types of activities or reinforcers. If it's something sensory, for example, maybe they like sticky things on their hands, or they like to listen to a certain type of sounds, or they prefer certain textures or something, and that information can help when we want to discover new activities. So I mean, that's one perspective, is to really try to scan to see what are the different preferences of a particular child, to know as much as possible about that when you start.
Yes, and we also try to use the activities that don't really need the objects at all, like social plays, songs and movements, touching.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, especially for children with autism, I think it's excellent if we can try to find social activities where we are important. So this is a project that I'm doing right now about increasing eye contact in young children. There we have specifically tried to find activities that the child cannot do on his own. The adult is really necessary. So something like, being swing in the air or something like that, because this has a double function. It's good that it's something that the child likes, but also it's a source of social stimulation. So it may increase the interest in other people. And we know that for young children with autism, that may be not so interesting. They may prefer objects. So if we can pair people with a lot of fun, that's a really good thing. So I think always, if you can find something that's where another person is necessary to make it continue, to make it happen, that's a very good thing. If we want to increase social interaction. Of course, it's also good to find things that the child can occupy him or herself with. That's a good skill too. But most kids with autism, they already know that. They have something that they can do when they're on their own. Yeah, so there, and you know that there are different formal questionnaires for finding reinforcers. I don't know, there is one I can show you if you haven't seen it. If we start at this from this point. I could send this to you too if you like.
Yes, please.
Have you seen this one? The RAISD, Reinforcer Assessment for Individuals with Severe Disabilities. So this is an interview. It may be the same things that you ask the parents, but it's in a structured way. So first, some children really enjoy looking at things, such as a mirror, bright lights, etc. What are the things that you think your child most likes to watch? And another question about sounds, smells, foods, physical play, like being tickled, wrestling, running, etc. Or some children really enjoy touching things of different temperature, cold things like snow or an ice pack, or warm things like a hand warmer or a cup of hot tea. Or some children really enjoy feeling different sensations, such as splashing water in a sink, a vibrator against the skin, or the feel of air blown on the face. Or number 8, some children really enjoy it when others give them attention, such as a hug, a pat on the back, clapping, or saying good job. So attention. And here comes toys. Toys or objects such as puzzles, toy cars, balloons, etc. And then activities, other items or activities. And then there's the possibility to rank, to make a list, to ask the parents, we have, what do you think is number 1 that is always interesting, and what is number 2? And maybe you don't have 16, maybe you have 3 or 5, but try to make a list. And of course, this is not a scientifically correct list, but it's something that can be helpful. And this form has been used quite a lot in research and practice. Anyone seen this before?
In Beck's book, I saw this.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the PECS manual, there is one like a shorter version that is quite similar to this. So the PECS manual is very good, and they have also a description on how you can test reinforcers. Let's see now. So this is one of the forms that may be interesting for you to translate and use.
Yes, it is. I think so.
So I mean that's the first thing, is try to find out what could be, what does the child already like. That's number 1, right? To exactly what you're doing. What is the child doing right now? When he can or she can choose, what does he choose? Does he go towards the cars or the balls, or just self-stimulatory? But everyone does something, so there has to be something that everyone likes. But then we want to find things that we can control, right? That we can use in therapy or training, teaching. So then you say that you have some strategies that you try.
Yes.
This question was about the children which has 2 or 3 games and self-stimulating.
Yes.
And we have a problem in our meetings with family, and parents has a problem with child at home to expand these games and
Yeah.
to choose new games for him.
Yeah.
Ksenia, I think Ksenia is thinking of some child she's working with.
Yeah.
Ksenia, I think you told me that you already tried different other games and the child is participating, but for a very little time, right?
Yes. And in home life, parents can play with the child in new games for 1 minute, 1 minute or 2 minutes, not longer. And he goes to play the regular game.
So it's not like he is not interested in other games at all, but it's hard to make the time which he spends in the new game longer, because he just uses for a second time. He's okay with that, but then he switches to his preferred 2 or 3 games, like
example only both.
How to motivate children explore new games?
Yeah. I see. But I think what I hear is that you have a very good start here with this child, that he actually accepts something else for a short time. Many children will not be interested in anything else, but he accepts game number 2 or game number 3, but in a shorter time. So I think one important thing is to don't push it too much in time. If he enjoys 1 to 2 minutes, do 1 minute, so that they stop while it's still fun. That's usually a very good strategy to if he's laughing, then we feel that we maybe, oh yeah, we can continue. But I think when he's laughing, you should stop before he's leaving, before he's trying to do something else. So stop and offer something that you know that he likes. So I think they should have a 2-step plan at least to try the new game and then know when shall I stop it and what shall I do then. So don't stop it and go to some boring work, but stop it and offer something else that we know that he likes. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's a very nice tip, because maybe sometimes when we are, especially when we know a child for some longer time and we know that he has many different skills, but for some reason he's just not interested in new games, maybe sometimes we are trying a bit too hard to show him all that he could do in this new game.
Yeah.
But maybe sometimes we can a bit be too active or too consistent in that.
Yeah, I think I have seen that many times, at least, that there's a risk that that you want to do it a little bit too fast. So you have a good start there, but I see the frustration also, that it's maybe slow. And when you when you started this new game, how did you choose it?
It's a question for me, yes?
I think so. I
have 2 examples.
Yes.
The first example is normal reaction. So the new game, okay.
Mm.
And then child look at me, but not interesting in conversation.
Mm.
And the second reaction, it's another child. In small changes are very frustrated him.
Yeah.
He just start to cry and don't want to play.
Yeah,
No.
he likes it to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we know that also many children with autism, they prefer sameness. They like repetition. So it can be a challenge to make small changes. Yeah. But also what I was thinking about is that how do we choose that? Now it's a question for everyone. So how do we choose a new game if we know that the child likes game A or toy A? How do we choose how do we know what to offer as another option?
There's similar games which child
Yeah.
prefers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So find some
Yes, so maybe
similarity.
we are trying to observe what exactly he likes in the game. Is it a sound? Is it a sense, I don't know, touching? Is it a process? He likes throwing, like an action, throwing or rolling, or what does he likes in this game? Or he likes the way it looks, or I know a child who likes only green colored toys. So is it a color or something else?
Mm.
I think maybe it would be it could be a play from another sphere. For example, if we were sitting and playing with some musical instruments, it could be some maybe running and jumping from different sphere, and I will try to change for different kinds of actions and of senses.
Yeah.
I will try to change maybe senses if it's possible.
Yeah.
And for example, I know the kinds of the toys which is preferred by the child. And I know if we would have a chance to try this or another toy, I would use this chance. So maybe this I'm thinking about right now. What can I offer? And I can see which of toy can attract attention, because the child is in the room and he's looking around the room, and maybe he's keeping eye on something or some place. So it's a kind of a sign from him that maybe it's a nice opportunity to move to change this toy to another activity right now. And if I know that soon it would be a moment when for a child it would be too much exciting during the game, or maybe he would be upset or it would be a moment of losing of interest. So I will follow maybe the eyes of the child to know what would be the next activity.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea too. As a therapist or a trainer or an analyst, that we also really observe the child. So of course you ask the parents to observe the child and see what is he doing, but in the session that you have, that you closely monitor the child and see, is he leaning towards something, is he looking after something, so in the moment. So you may find something that you didn't know, or at least you find something that he wants right now. Yeah. And then of course,
maybe
yeah. Please.
If it's possible, have a little question in the context of our conversation. How often can we offer new game? Maybe, you know, I'm speaking about this balance of our initiatives and initiatives which came from a child. I know that if we inside of activity, we have our goals, we have combination of initiatives, and we're changing initiatives, but sometimes it happens that we have to be, for my opinion, maybe too much initiative for the child. We offer, and we don't have you know, this balance when the child offer and or can act and choose. Maybe maybe it's we don't plan this kind of game, or it's kind of improvisation, but the child has not too much motivation, so sometimes we have to offer, and sometimes I think about to be not to be you know, pushing or offering activities. Is this a balance, or can we check ourselves that we observing this balance of initiatives of our own and of a child?
Yeah, I think that's an important perspective also, if I get it right, that we need to be aware on how much are we offering, how much are we taking initiative, and I don't have any numbers. I cannot say that there has to be this or that, because it depends it depends on the child and each situation. But I think it's an important issue that you bring up, that it's important to be aware that well, try to give. Sometimes you offer something and try this, look what I have, but also give the child time.
Yeah,
because some children also, they need more time to discover and to look at things and to try things, and there's a risk that we may be interrupting that if we offer too much and look at this, oh no, you don't want, oh maybe this, okay, no, and this, it can be
yes
too intense maybe. Do you recognize this, the rest of you also?
Yes, can I
yes,
tell a little bit?
Of course.
Maybe we oh, some problem with internet. Okay, maybe we can talk not only about new activities, but we can make more various this one activity that child has. So if he likes, I don't know what if he like put his car on the floor and do this one, yes. We can give him this gorka, or we can put some water before car and put car in the water and make his activity more various, more interesting. Something like this.
Yes. Yeah, that's also good way to take something that the child already likes and use it in a new way, right? To make it more fun. that can be a great way to expand interests too. Do you have some more examples of this? Anyone?
Of this strategy?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We use it constantly. But it can be a problem with the child that Xenia describes that doesn't want any changes in this particular game.
Yes.
Wants it exactly the same way that she did before.
Can you give example? What is he like? No, what?
Yes, he likes that I'm singing the song. And if that song sings his mother, he starts to cry. Or he likes that grandma write the book. And he don't like if it do father or mother or somebody else. And he has a lot of routines all the day, which must do a different person. Yes.
But is it this child that has 2 or 3 games that he likes? Are you talking about him right now?
No, it's 2 different examples. Yes.
And about the child who likes 2 or 3 games, what kind of games are these games?
It's a rolling helicopter. And balls to
rolling?
Yes, rolling balls.
Rolling or throwing?
No, throwing.
Throwing.
Yes.
So throwing the balls in the helicopter. Why not?
Yeah. And of course, a child who likes to throw a ball, with all the activities, we want to find out exactly what does he like to do with it. So throwing a ball, in what way does he like to throw?
He looks at the balls. I like to watching them.
But does he like to throw them also?
Does he like to throw the balls? Only looking or also throwing?
Throwing and looking.
And how does he throw them? To other people or to some bucket?
No, to the floor. Or only to the floor, not
to the
for.
floor.
Does he looks the way they are flying?
He likes sound.
The sound.
When the ball touches the floor?
Yes.
Okay. That's good observing, because I mean this is what we need to do to try to find out what is it that he likes with the balls. So this is also advice for all the toys, that don't just write ball on the list, but which ball and how does the child like the ball? Is it playing together? Is it playing on its own? Is it a small plastic ball, or is it some other material? Is it special size or special color? And there you have something that you could maybe develop, just like you said about the cars. So if the child likes to throw it on the floor, maybe you can throw the ball into a box or a basket or something that makes a different sound that he prefers. So you may be able to expand the ball interest to something much more varied. Kicking, rolling ball, and it has a potential.
I'm sure that Xenia tried this, but what happens if you give him not a ball, but maybe some other object to throw, or throwing, but in another way, like somewhere. Is he interested in that?
He accepts a new game, but new games, but not so happy to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a reinforce for him. It's just play.
Yeah.
He does that because we ask him, like
a lot of initiatives. Yes. Initials go. Короче, я не могу это сказать. Много инициатив родителей. Родители постоянно инициируют игру, а ребенок не может это сделать.
So it's always the parents' initiative to show another way of play, but the child himself in his self-play can do this, and this is his 2 to 3 games for a long time. Yes, it is a long time that he continues. Yes. So it's not like a month or 2, it's more. How long do you work with this child?
From November.
But so it's like half a year.
Distant work. It's
distant work. Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's also a challenge. But I think when we try to use things in a new way or try something new, it's also good to be patient, to give it some time, because he may learn to like it after a while. If he tries today putting the ball into throwing it at another place, yeah, that's okay, but I prefer my old way. But if you offer again that he can throw it in this bowl that makes a sound, or I don't know, something else, he tries it again. Okay, maybe I'll do it 2 times today, and then I do like I always do. So maybe he will learn to like it. It could be like, acquired taste. I think we all have tried some food that we didn't really like at first, and now we love it. Eating olives, for me, I didn't really like it so much first. Now I really like it, for example. So it's a natural process also, that sometimes we learn to, our preferences change, right? If we get exposed in a fun context and not too much. So that may be a slow way to increase interest.
I think that's what disturbs us mostly, because with lots of children, it is a more quick process, because we try something and then 2 or 3 meetings and they become to use it or to accept that or to be motivated by that. But yes, when we meet children who are who need much more time, we are trying to be disturbed if we are doing everything that we can for him to use these new games, or maybe there are some other things that we are missing.
Yeah. And then, of course, I mean, then it's important, I think, also to remember that reinforcers can be anything. It doesn't have to be toys that you can buy in the toy store. It can be all objects and different activities, of course, as long as it's nothing harmful and dangerous, but different types of things that you can find in the kitchen or wherever, objects, or physical play in different ways. I had some online consultation with a parent recently who had a young child that liked some physical games, but she lost her interest really quickly. So she liked to be in the lap and go upside down like this, or 1 foot on another, and then up like that. That was okay, but then the dad found out that he could carry her like this, and then run a few steps, say run and stop, and run and stop and run. So being held by the dad who was running 2 meters. That was fun. They could make a stop and wait for some behavior and then continue. Or he also put her on the floor, put her on a small carpet, and then he was dragging the carpet on the floor and said, "Drag, stop, drag, and stop." You know, so that was kind of good imagination. So we tried to discuss new things that could be fun for her, and that cost nothing, but you can do it together. So sometimes that can be a path also to start discussing with the parents. Have you tried this? Have you tried tickling? Not everybody likes tickling, but maybe being lifted up or being swing around or kissed in a special way, or I don't know. So that's also important to try to stay open. And then, of course, there are ways of trying to create new reinforcers, like by conditioning. So pairing something that is neutral with something that the child already likes. And this sometimes works, but not always. And I think that the research is showing some mixed results. But sometimes you can do that. You can, if the child really likes music, for example, you can put on the favorite music, and at the same time you offer a new toy to make the connection between what he already likes and something new. And slowly it can be associated together and being more reinforcing. I don't have a lot of experience in this working very quickly, but sometimes it can work. Have you tried that, like pairing stuff?
Yeah.
Yes, I think maybe more. It's sort of strategy that we discussed earlier. Like if a child loves, I don't know, water, playing with water, but we would love him to do more functional or more object. He only holds it, the object, but we'd like to throw. Maybe we should throw in the water something.
Oh yes, yeah.
Some like that. I'm not sure that I frequently use like the example that you used, like 2 different things. Like there is a song that he likes, and then we will do this with song. But maybe I should think a bit more.
Yeah. So I mean, at least it can be a way of making things acceptable to pair it with something that you already like. But then to make it a reinforcer, that's even stronger. Like to make it something that the child really likes. So it's possible. There are some studies on this, and also another way to make things more interesting could be that the child observes someone else playing with it. If it's a child who looks at others, and if the other person is somebody that the child likes, so seeing someone else really enjoying a toy, that may increase the value and make it more interesting. But it has to be the right person. And I think we're going to take a break soon, but I just want to say that the second part of your question there, we try to participate in the activities that the child prefer and try to develop into something different, but the child resists. So if it's resistance, then you should be careful. So only participate a little bit in a fun way. Take it really slow. That's if it's a child who makes clear resistance, if I understand it right.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in order to be able to introduce things, we need to be persons who are associated with fun things too. But you know that already. So in order to get a good relation with a new child, we need to be the ones who give a lot of interesting stuff. So we have to be generous, especially in the beginning, and at just giving and not asking for anything in the beginning. Just observing and offering fun activities. If we are interacting with the child, maybe we're not. Maybe we're just supervising. Maybe it's the parents who do everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big topic. We could continue, but I think, shall we take a short break?
Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So if you like, we can do 5 minutes, or we do 10 minutes. What do you prefer?
5.
5?
5 minutes will be okay.
That's George. Yeah. Yeah. So see you in 5 minutes.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Еще чуть. Запишите, да? Да.
Recording again. Okay, so we talked about motivating activities. Before we continue, how can we summarize what we said now? Anyone who wants to try?
Yeah, I can try to do this. Maybe colleagues will say something more. Well, first of all, we need to follow some rules when we are trying to find the new activities that the child likes. Firstly, we can base on what he already likes, and then we need to know what he exactly likes, not only the objects or the things that he does, but or he likes to do, but also the way he likes to do this, and what exactly is the stimuli that he likes. So to describe it in a good way.
Yeah.
And then when we are trying to find the new activities, we need to be sure that we tried all of the things, and then we could use all of the sensories. Then we could use the instrument that you showed us, the questionnaire or the interview.
For example,
to base on something the child already likes to in these ways. Not maybe not only from the play, but just from his everyday life. Then when we are trying to when we want to try some new game, we should be careful when we are observing the child in the moment to know what exactly he would like to do right now. Is he looking at something? Is he tired of some activity? Does he want to be more active in a physical way right now? Or he would love to spend more time sitting or reading a book or some less active things. And also, when we are playing, we should be careful with how much we are participating in the child's game to see the clues or that he's showing us if he likes or dislikes the way we are trying to interact in this game, and and also when we should stop our initiatives in the game and when we should end this game before he tries to be tired of it, or when he gets bored, before he gets bored. So to stop it on a positive note, and to, if it was a new game, to offer him the game that we are sure that he will like afterwards. So this could be something that reinforces him for playing the new game. And also we can think about pairing the stimulus. So he could, if there is something that he already likes, maybe we could bring something new in this particular game, or together with it.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed something, but
that was a lot. You want to add something?
And we should be generally generous, giving person for a child, fun giving person for a child.
Yeah, especially in the beginning when you get to know a child, it's really important. And then sometimes you can also use the observational learning. So you can just, show the child that you really enjoy. Wow, this ball is so fantastic. I can do this. I can throw it over here. And the child will see that, oh, that might be fun. I want to try. With children without autism, that can be very effective. With children with autism, it may be more challenging, but sometimes that works too. Like showing how something can be used, and being very animated and laughing, or like, showing that you enjoy it, or having the sister or brother use it. That may create an interest. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any follow-up question on this, or shall we go to the next? Good.
Maybe we can switch to the next question.
So thank you for this. And so the next question is maybe even more tricky. So this is about sensory issues. Can you explain a little bit more? Shall I read the question?
Yes, please, because I don't have. I haven't prepared. I don't have listened to the questions.
No, I read the question that I got in the email, and it says,
yes, thank you.
is there any way to solve the sensory issues of a child if he or she does not let us touch him, or doesn't want to touch objects, or eat something with a specific texture? And then you have some examples that way we try to do, but sometimes it doesn't work. So sometimes you would use recommendations from sensory integration specialists. And then I don't know, like compensatory using of proprioceptive.
Yes, I can.
For increasing tolerance to tactile stimulation, or try to increase the time of tolerance, or try to use the child's interests to pair it with touching, some sensory materials, etc.
Yes, because sometimes we have children who comes to us and he doesn't like some specific sensory stimuli, like a sound, or well, it is okay if he doesn't like a specific sound. We're just trying to not to use it, or not to make him suffer in this way. But sometimes the children just doesn't like touching anything, and then it becomes a problem because it affects many sides of his life, like eating because he can't hold the spoon, or playing because he is not okay with touching objects. Some children that I saw are touching the material this way, like on the other side of the hand,
Yeah.
Trying to touch it, not with the fingertips. And it is a big problem if we want to use the physical prompt, and yes, and the child just is not okay that we are touching his hands, so it's difficult with gestures or some other maybe I don't know, coping or imitating movements or actions with an object.
Yeah.
And and it can be problem with eating because the child is not okay with the texture of the food. And he's accepting only, I don't know, puree or only water or something that he can drink, more like liquids, or only some sort of hard products. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it is a general problem, a big one, but we would like to know if there are any strategies that you are using with children, if there is a problem like that, and if it affects the life of a child, the quality of the life, and the quality of our training.
Okay. Yeah, it's a quite difficult question, and of course there are different degrees of this problem, but I do recognize several of the issues, and I mean the strategy that you mentioned, that's the general strategies that I would use too. Try to increase tolerance in small steps, but there you need to be very patient, and you really need to observe the child, and it has to be in a in a calm environment. It has or in a fun I don't know, it has to be very non-aversive. It has to be nice for the child. So it means also pairing with something that is already fun. So if you want to reduce resistance or to touching, you first need to establish a good relation. You need to establish yourself, like we talked about before, as an interesting person, as something, as a source of fun and enjoyment for the child. So you can't do this on the first session, right?
Sure.
You need to first do the pairing with you and the child. If you are the therapist, then you need to first create a really good relationship. And if it's the parents, maybe they need to improve the relationship sometimes to make it less demanding and more fun and relaxed. That can be a big job to start with, right? But then, of course, we need to find out as much as possible about the details, just like with the reinforcers. What is it that the child avoids, and what does he or she accept? So we know as much as possible of what could be the closest step, towards where we want to go. So I don't know if it's touching with the hands. I would try to make a list of what can the child touch right now, and in what way. Is something allowed on the palm of his hand, and what is that? Is it a soft object or a hard object or a cold or a warm? And for how long? And if it's nothing, is it really nothing? try to discover that. If the parents say no, he doesn't touch anything, is it true, or could it be something? What about water, for example? Can the hand be in water? I don't know. To really explore, so you get as much information as possible about where the child is. And then try to look at the micro steps towards where you want, or I mean, try to make a goal. Where do you want to go? What is the goal? So that you don't put the goal too high. Shall we try with an example with one of the children that you mentioned, or?
Yes, but I'm actually going to ask my colleagues if there was an exact child that you were thinking of when we discussed this question.
No.
Because I have my own cases, but maybe some of the colleagues have also too, because I have already mentioned some of them. Таня, да? Нет? Мне показалось.
Про какого ребенка?
Да, про сенсорный.
Игорь у меня такой.
Well, okay, maybe I could start to describe one case, and the colleagues will join me. I have a girl who have issues with touching. She's okay with holding objects, but sometimes she likes to touch them with the different side of the hand, like I showed before. She is okay with holding them in hands, but also she likes it this way. And the problem was we had a goal, a communicative goal, to use the pointing to request for as a request. But when we started to work on this goal, I discovered that the girl is not okay with me or mother or anyone touching her hands. And it is actually a common problem because we see it rather frequently. And then, one strategy is just to use another sign or another sort of a sign to request, not the pointing, because it's hard to teach her because she's not copying the movements, and she doesn't let us touching her hands too. And this is the strategy I used. I said, okay, maybe she will just try to reach the thing, but not trying to catch it or to get it in this moment very quickly, but just a little time of her pointing, but not with her finger, but with the whole hand. But maybe there are some other ways that we can go. And also I was using different materials, trying to know when she allows me to touch her hands, like in the fun game, is she okay with me doing that? If her mother holds her by the hand when they walk on the street, is she allowing this? If I will touch her hands when she puts them in water and I will catch her in the water, will it be better for her? If I will use some material to touch her, will it be better? Will it be better or no? So this was this sort of work.
And if you put the reinforcer in your hand, will she take it from your hand? That can be something for some child that doesn't like touching, maybe accepting to take something that he likes from you. Or maybe when it's close to your hand, and then here, and then when it's in your things like that.
Yes, actually, with this particular girl, I'm not sure if it was only the sensory issue, because she could do this. She could touch me or touch my hand sometimes. maybe the problem was, maybe she didn't like this too much when someone touched her hands, but maybe she also interpreted it as if I was trying to stop her when she was trying to reach the toy. Maybe there could be a distraction, but even someone was like from the back, and she couldn't see the hand which was stopping her. It was not working.
I've had the same issue with teaching PECs. Sometimes, the picture exchange communication system. In the beginning, you usually have to take the hand of the child, and it has happened. I know, especially one little girl that I worked with many years ago. We had prepared everything. We had good reinforcers. I was at the home of the family, and they have made nice pictures. And she wanted some cookie or whatever we had there, and I was just going to prompt her, and oh no, we forgot to tell you that she doesn't like when we touch her hand. Yeah, so that was a good lesson for me. And luckily, in that case, I just told them that, well, until next week, can you please try to just slowly touch her, and that was enough. They could do it in a few days. Sometimes it's just a matter of habit, and make it in a fun way, and just touching a little bit, and then a little bit more, and a bit more. Often that can be a strategy that works. But not always, and then you need to be more careful, and maybe try to think about the whole context even more. Well, she didn't like me touching her hand when it was I who did it. What about the mother or the father, or what about before dinner or after dinner? Or what about in the kitchen or in the living room? All those things can also matter. So it's, if we have a problem that is serious, we need to look at the full context, I think, to observe it or interview the parents to see, is there some occasion when she will accept this, or is it really never? Because if it is yes, sometimes, that can be very useful information for us. What is it that makes it okay? Can we start there? Can we move that to another context? So that's maybe no news for you, but I think that's important to remember.
Yes, it is. Yes, because sometimes we are following our idea about some different thing, like I told you about the communication, and okay, she needs some sort of communication because she just cried when she needed something, and it was a big problem for her mom. And yes, so maybe sometimes we really ignore some things that we need to be more attentive with.
Yeah. Yeah. So, 1 second. Some noise. Yeah. And what about the recommendations for sensory and integration specialists? What are the recommendations you get?
Well, we have a sensory integration specialist here in the institute, and sometimes she does her own observation of a child, and she writes down the recommendation both for using at home and for us to use on our meetings for the family in the center. But they can relate to some, well, they are not exactly about if the issue is touching. They are not always about touching. Sometimes there are some different sensory channels that she's using to let the child be more okay with touching. For example, like I said, it's sometimes using the proprioceptive stimuli are make a child more confident with touching. Like if it's not light touching, but more
firm.
yeah, with pushing a little bit, they like it more. And this sort of recommendations that might not be obvious for me as a psychologist, but are more obvious for her as the sensory integration specialist, something like that.
Yeah.
So we might use it not exactly at the moment when the problem is happening, but some facultative things that we can use, or parents may use during the day to constantly decrease this level of of anxiety when these things happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes specialists of social integration give recommendation to help child with a high sensitivity with physical exercises, you know, like taking heavy things. It's a kind of opposite feelings, you know, when you're taking some heavy ball, and next will be easier for a child to meet touch of other people, for example, or to use, you know, some strong feelings like message toys, maybe beans, you know. And so if for example, sometimes these strong feelings allow for a child to meet touch of a hand, you know. It's like a wearing of your touch, so it could help some physical exercises. So before, if you know that it's a child with high sensitivity, you can use some toys, or it's some you know, bag with a bottle of water, or some jackets, heavy jackets, so you can, it could help for a child to meet high sensitivity, and it's a kind of helping to take barrier away. So these were recommendations which we're trying to meet. So maybe some other materials offering water, sand, beans, maybe, you know, some message balls. So if a child can take a ball in her hands and you put your hand on the ball, so it's a kind of interaction, a compromise interaction. So you not straightly touch the hand, but you touch it with the help of a ball. And different clothes which can use to touch, and so on. So these were recommendations.
And if you follow these recommendations, what do you notice?
Sometimes it's really, you're feeling happy that something clicking and the child stop crying or stop avoiding you. Sometimes, but not of these recommendations, you know, fitting to everyone, because some of them don't like some heavy things, and or is passive child, so wants to do some physical movements and maybe running or taking heavy things. Also,
Yeah.
It's still a question.
Yeah.
Or another question, when a child has high sensitivity and enjoying playing with these senses. I have classes sessions with a girl, and she's liking to finding skin on her lip.
Oh.
And sometimes taking her, you can take away her from 20 minutes, and that's all she's wanting to do. I know that she is a girl of high sensitivity, but all she's doing, she's trying to find skin on her lip, and it's really a challenge to find, to allow her initiative, to find initiatives, and to put in her point of view something interesting. She's really going inside of her, and but I find a way with a message toy from the neck and cheeks. So it's a kind of another way to attract her attention from the lip, because my guess was that it's general question for her of high sensitivity of a face, of a skin, and of tastes. So but it's really a hard question for us, because if she's doing this, if she is not going to see a massage toys or something like this. So if I'm lucky to give her a massage before she's trying to do this, maybe I have a chance.
Oh yeah. So that could be a strategy. It's I recognize these kinds of issues also. So it's like children who have a lot of self-stimulatory behaviors, who enjoy, doing things with their own body, scratching or biting or itching or something like that. That can be really difficult. So it's good to, as I think you're doing there, trying to analyze what is it that she enjoys. Is it the sensation on being touched on her skin, like in her face? Then maybe massage can be a good substitute to find something else that can have a similar value to her, but is that you can control, or that is less harmful. Because if she's picking, I don't know if she's picking the skin, if she's getting some
yes, sometimes
bruises also. So
yes, sometimes she's going to
like,
the end to have the skin. Yes,
like
sometimes
nail biting or hair picking. There are many things like that can happen. So
yes, she always do it. She is trying to doing like this, taking her hair and so on. This also the things that she's doing, and I think but she likes the massage. So if she's in the bad mood or she's starting to cry, sometimes kind of a hard massage of her head is helping her, like giving her relief.
Yeah. So this is related to the question that you asked first, but it's not exactly the same, because now we're talking more about a problem behavior, right? That sensory problem behavior, children doing something too much, and I think what the first question was a little bit, children not doing something.
Not doing.
Yeah. So I understand that the question comes here. It's something that we could go more into another time, maybe. If you like, but if we go back a little bit just to the question about touching, so I mean it's sensory integration. I don't know very much about it, and I think there are some mixed results also in the research. There are some studies saying that it can be good sometimes, but maybe it's not so solid. But if you have someone that you trust and that is a good professional, and they give you some advice on sensory things to try, why not try it? If it doesn't take all day, I mean, if it's something that you could add and see if it can help the child with desensitization, because I think that's the main idea, the desensitization to getting used to something new, getting used to being touched or holding things in a gradual controlled way. A bit like when we talked about reinforcers earlier. Like you have to offer it small steps and take it away while the child is still calm. Then you stop it, and if you then you give it again, and if the child is calm, you stop, and you can increase. You know that that approach, right? For habituation in general. So I think it's the main strategy, but it's we have to be careful, and we have to try to look at the whole picture, like we said before, just to get to find a good starting point. And then, of course, just on a side note, physical prompting. Sometimes we may need it, like in the beginning of PECs, for example. It's quite difficult to get the child to take the picture if they have never done that before. Maybe we need to do a little bit of physical prompting. But otherwise, in general, I think often physical prompting can be used much less. It may be a good general idea to try to avoid physical prompting. For different reasons. One reason is, of course, that it may be aversive. It may be something that the child doesn't like, and then we don't want to do too much. But then on the other hand, there is also a risk that the child will really enjoy being touched. Those are other children. Those are not the one that we talk about right now. But some children, they don't mind that somebody touches their hand. They might even prefer it. So what does that mean when we're doing prompting?
That would be a problem to fade it.
Exactly. Because all prompts,
yes, we
want to fade them as quickly as possible. And if we do something that is actually stimulating, then it's maybe difficult to take it away. So I think general advice when you choose prompting strategies, physical prompting should be one of the last to choose. It depends on the context, of course, what you're doing, but
yes, we often use it with little children who comes to us, and they have both problems with coping. Something that we do, not exactly gesturing, but also manipulating objects or doing some movements, maybe. It's a case when they are interested in what we are doing. They are watching and they are trying to copy, but they can because of problems with motor planning, or because they have problems with just imitating what exactly we are doing. And then they get bored, or they are crying because they can't copy that, but they like it. And that's when we use the physical prompting. And also with gesturing, because usually the child comes to us and they do not talk. But maybe they use some natural gestures like this, or just holding hands to get the parents' help, for example, or to make them take hands, something like that, I think. And then when we are using gesturing for communicative goals, then we are using physical prompts on at the beginning of the process, but we are trying to fade it as quickly as it is possible. But yes, sometimes we have issues like you are telling, when the child tries to reach the toy, and then he gives us a hand for us to do
waiting for the prompt.
Yes, it's not very common right now because we already worked with this problem, and now we are trying to fade the physical prompt as quick as possible, but sometimes it still happens.
Yeah. So I think it's a reminder.
Yes, yes. We didn't, me and Julia, we just thought that we didn't think about that the child may not also just um, um, be used to our physical prompt, but also like it. We didn't think about
Yeah, yeah. So if the child likes it, what shall we do? Then of course we should offer a lot of physical contact as reinforcer or when
Another
playing,
yeah.
but not while prompting. Okay, so time is running. As I said in the beginning, we're not going to talk about all your questions today. Shall we try to summarize what we said now about these questions, about the sensory?
Yes, maybe.
Anyone wants to? Because I'd like you to participate like you did. What will you take back from this discussion?
Okay, let me try to do. Maybe someone else wants to.
I can try to summarize. So we were speaking about high sensitivity, and our ideas were to giving opportunity for a child to getting used to our touches. So we can bit by bit offer touches and be patient in our tries for a child to getting used that he often and every day he's meeting our touches. And another idea were to analyze high sensitivity as we did it with motivations and reinforcement, and the same we can do the same analysis we can do with things and feelings which he don't want to feel and to do in the same way. For us to know better in details which of them are which of them the child doesn't want to meet.
Yeah.
And maybe someone will add something.
Thank you.
And we were speaking about recommendations of specialists of system integration, and so we can do it together, and maybe some ideas we can get from specialists of system integration to find ways to increase, for example, to touch hands. And I add that we should be careful in touching, because physical prompts as a way of touching. So maybe we can find a way to reach our goals without touching, because this will be one of the last things we could try. And so we can also think about some other prompts. So it would be a question how really hard we need this touch right now. Maybe it's not so necessary, and maybe there are some alternatives to reach the same goal.
Yeah.
In the way around.
Thank you. I think you covered many points. Anyone wants to add something? I'd like to add also as regarding to reinforcers that, well, being systematic, that means also taking data. So write down if you try something new, if you touch for 1 second, write it. What day did you do this, so that you remember and you can compare in small steps. And if the parents or someone else is doing it, try to encourage them to take some simple data too. That's not always easy to get other people to do it, but it increases the quality, and especially if the progress is slow, then it's important to have some data to remember to see the difference in the long term. You agree?
Yeah.
So it was very nice to see you, to try this the first time.
Yeah.
Shall we try to
Thank
book?
you.
Nice.
Shall we book the next meeting? I could see you one time in April and one time in May,
Okay.
if you want.
Yes.
You
we
think it's a
should.
good frequency, once a month? And
That's
then we
nice.
will see about the COVID situation and everything, when it would be possible to schedule a visit. I would love to do it, like, this
Would
summer.
love to meet you in person too.
But I don't know if it's realistic, because now we cannot travel between Russia and Sweden. It's quite complicated, right? I think. What about the end of April? For example, for me, Wednesday 28th is possible, the same time.
28.
It's 28.
28.
Yes. Well, for me, it's possible too. And the time?
Same time.
Same
like today.
time.
Is this a good time for you in general?
Yes,
Yeah.
in general, yes, but on Wednesdays sometimes we have the meetings with all of our specialists together. Maybe it would be better to discuss it via Christina, because
to do that.
we can accumulate it from all of us and from you, of course, firstly. And maybe, I don't know if Evgenia and Larissa will participate in the next meeting, if they will have a chance to. So maybe we should, maybe it will be better or easier for you and for us to do it by Christina.
Yeah, we can do like that. I just need to get the reply within the next few days. So.
Okay, so maybe I can ask her to. So it is the 28th of April and 3 p.m. in Russia.
That's my first suggestion. I could find another time if that's not possible. It would be.
I think we can discuss that time. And for you, Anna, and for our colleagues, is it a good time?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's okay. Just say us then.
That's nice.
Welcome. Yeah.
It would be 3 o'clock also?
Yes.
Yes, for me, that's a good time that day. So.
Okay.
Okay. I think we can sort things out, and maybe we can do it at 3 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, thank you so much. And we have a small question. We have already some ideas that we would like to discuss. We have 2 more questions, I think, from this first letter. But also, I would like to ask the colleagues if the theme is interesting for them, because me and Julia, we were thinking about training for parents. And to discuss this theme, how do you use it? Is it interesting for all our colleagues too?
Yes.
Because we are together here, so we need to know if it is interesting for you too.
Like a general discussion on parent training.
I think that we will maybe formulate some more certain questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very interesting. Do you work with the parents in distance?
Oh yeah, I do that a bit. Yeah.
Okay, that's another thing, I think. Or maybe we can discuss it together because it's sort of correlating things. Okay, thank you. I think we formulate the question.
So before we finish, let's take a photo.
Yes.
I just do a screenshot like this. So nice to see you, and we will be in touch soon again.
Yes, sure. Thank you so much. We are very grateful and very happy to have this opportunity.
Yeah, and I like that you were active in the discussion. Also, that's the point, I think. So I will stop the recording and I will send it to Christina.
Yes, thank you.
Right. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.